All right. So this is the introduction episode, even though it's not actually the first time that I've been doing this podcast and recording, but it is the inaugural episode of this podcast that I am in the process of trying to create. So I guess I could tell you a little bit about the name. So the name of this podcast is ACE in particular. That's the brand name ACE, all capitals ACE. And then probably ACE Paradigm or something along those lines for the podcast. But I'm just going to change it as I go along, and eventually something is going to stick. So for now, we'll call it the ACE Paradigm podcast, just ACE Paradigm, or just ACE Podcast, whatever fits over the time. So a little bit of background. I've been in the last couple of weeks. So essentially what I've been doing over the past month or so revolves around ACE, which stands for Advanced Context Engineering, which is a method whereby you engineer context to feed an LLM to get the subjectively best output that you can out of the LLM. So that was kind of the motivation for this whole project. About 3 weeks ago, when talking to a friend, he had convinced me essentially to open up my brain a little bit and really dive headfirst into agentic coding. He showed me some of the stuff he was doing, and I was impressed. And he's a computer science major, so he's got a little bit more of a base, a foundation to be able to do this. I am a physics, mathematics major, so I have a little bit of coding experience, but only in high-level languages, really. And now I'm working towards, a little bit more of the low-level languages, but I only ever really did Python in school. And anyways, after having this conversation with him, he had convinced me of the power of agentic coding, and not only of the power of agentic coding, but the recent revisions and improvements that they've been making. Because, real agentic coding has been around for probably about a year or so now, but it was a test mechanism, and these companies have been building products for agentic coding. And I think that there was a big change in the recent models that they put out and the capabilities that they have. So essentially, I jumped right into it. I spent all my time looking into context engineering and looking into agentic coding. I got into something called Codex CLI, which is an OpenAI product, and it is essentially an agentic coding software where you give access to the terminal of your computer to the agent or the AI, and it could do things on your behalf. And you don't really understand the power of it until you try to use it. So at the beginning, I just crafted a web app that I'd wanted to be making, and the structure was terrible and it sucked. But it was my first project, and it was a proof of concept to me to show me that I was capable of doing stuff that previously I was not capable of doing. And before, when I had tried these coding agents, I was not successful because the agents were the limiting factor. And they weren't good enough for me able to just hands off, do none of the coding, and architect what I want in terms of the application or the software. So, throughout these past weeks, actually, I'm going to release an episode of when I first was figuring this stuff out. It has completely transformed the entire way that I think about my life and what I want to do going forward for the rest of my life, because I think, and I know now, I've just stumbled upon a generationally powerful tool, especially for people with technical backgrounds who can craft and use it in a productive way, to make businesses or money, to help people however you want. But the core principle is that agentic coding has reached a point of paradigm shift where it now has the capability to do things that regularly would require humans and teams of people to do. And all of a sudden, a singular person with the right technical background and knowledge on software engineering can architect anything that they fucking want. And these agentic coders do the debugging process, because that was a big problem before, is that either they wouldn't do what you wanted and they would hallucinate, or they would create problems and it would be hard to debug it. We have reached a point that is no longer applicable. Now I can build anything I want. And I feel like I've been gifted this opportunity by God. And he's telling me, do something with it. Don't waste your time. Really build something powerful, because this is your out. This is your big break, which I've been looking for. So, by prefacing that, that's sort of the beginning of the series of this podcast. It's just to tell you why I'm starting it, and it's to get the word out on this powerful technology and to kind of document the journey of me learning how to use it, me learning skills, building businesses. I've done and trying to document the whole process. I grew up listening to podcasts. I'm currently 25 years old. I've been listening to podcasts since I was 11 or 12 years old, but realistically, it was in the beginning of high school, so I was about 14, which means I have about a decade of podcast experience, and I listen to podcasts every day for those 10 years. I basically always listen to podcasts. That's how I consume social media. And I always found great disproportionate value out of watching podcasts. People like Joe Rogan just shooting shit and being interested in topics and being able to learn from that. And self-help, like the original Jordan Peterson's material for self-help for young men. And now business material, Hormozy stuff. Well, essentially, I want to pass that forward. And that is the purpose of this podcast, is for me to capture everything that I've learned and try to pay that forward as best I can. And also as a way of documenting and being able to look back at all the things that I've done and the improvements that I'm making. Because the last video that I shot was about a week ago, and I've made leaps and bounds not only in my knowledge, but with the light at the end of the tunnel aspect. I can grasp it almost, the capabilities of this agentic coding power. And then there's the flip side of this, which is it's going to be so easily accessible to everyone eventually that now is the moment to leverage it, because you won't be able to leverage it in the future. And it's going to get better too. So as I get better and learn how to use it, it's also going to be getting better, which means I'm not the limiting factor. The model can be the limiting factor, and it's only just going to get better. So yeah, I just wanted to make this quick introduction on my thoughts. I think this podcast is going to be more than just AI, agentic stuff. That's just sort of what's taking over my life right now. I want to pay this forward. I want to document everything. And yeah, I'm looking forward to see other people who are interested, who want to talk about it. And yeah, this is the generational lock-in moment for me. I've been spending every minute of every fucking day doing this. And I'm basically putting all my chips in one basket here. So it's going to work. 100% it's going to work. I don't have a choice. And yeah, I hope you enjoy the ride with me. It's going to be bumpy and lots of work, but it's going to be fucking awesome. And I'm so excited. I'm just so excited to have something to do every day of every second of every minute of every year of my life, something that I can work towards over a long period of time. Yeah. So tune in. I'm going to continue to create these podcasts. I'll probably try to do as many as I can. And it's a way for me to document, how things are going. Just mark my words, like, this is the paradigm shift of the century. You could say the paradigm shift of the 20th century was the internet. This is the paradigm shift of the 21st century. We saw it, the writing on the wall when AI first came out, and now the writing is closer. You can reach out and you can grab it. It's there. I see how it changes the world now. And it only has just happened. This paradigm shift has just happened. These models are just getting to the point where they could do everything themselves, within a framework that you give it. And yeah, I want everybody else to see it and then document it so they could see. And I'll document it so they can see how I'm doing it. I hope somebody could take value out of it. Like I took value out of all the podcast videos that I watched. Any little blurb, any little message, it's always a short little part of the podcast that really clicks. And so, yeah, this is the inaugural episode. I hope you enjoy the others. I'll be posting another one after this one that's actually post-dated, or predated. Yeah, enjoy. ACE Paradigm Podcast. My name is Jake Robertson, and this is my generational lock-in moment. Every single one of my ancestors screaming at me saying, "This is it. This is your break. Don't let it fucking pass." So, here we go.